proud of our guys, the way they continue to play and fight and, try and do whatever they could to, get the game to overtime, get back into the game to start the second half, get the game to overtime, down 8-0 in overtime, figure out a way to win it is just pretty remarkable. And hope, our guys were excited in the locker room, and, I hope maybe it can carry us as we move forward. But that was an absolutely wild and incredible game.
How big was Elijah Minnick's performance on the board?
It was terrific. 12 defensive rebounds. It seemed in the second half that every time they missed, he was involved in the action. Huge rebound late when Malik Harmon missed the layup, and he was able to dig it out. Those are some things that, as Elijah's gotten more comfortable, he's been more aggressive doing. Kind of got on him in the first half a little bit about rebounding. In the second half, he was tremendous. And so, not only that, but he was able to be active offensively. Do you have any stats for me, dude? Sorry. He was active. He was active offensively. And he made some really big plays, and he did a nice job defensively. We switched defenses a ton, and sometimes that gets him a little bit confused. But I thought it was one of his best efforts on that side of the floor for sure.
When you were down 8 quickly in the overtime, did it seem like you were dead and then you were alive?
Pretty much. Probably the worst start to overtime in the history of basketball. I mean, down 8-0. Think about it. And this is what drives us crazy about this team is they were like the 4 possessions that we had, or the couple possessions we had, the couple turnovers we had and things. Like, we talked about different things in the timeout that then we go on the court and absolutely don't execute. And so it's like, even in the end of regulation, what we were trying to run didn't get run. On the defensive side of the floor, St. Francis really didn't know what we were in, but I'm not sure I knew what we were in either. It was like, if we're going to continue to play and move forward, so I said to him after the game, we need some more mental focus. I thought we played really hard for 3/4 of the game in the overtime, but it was just like we draw something or talk about something in a timeout, and then guys go out there and it's like 3 guys are doing it and 2 guys aren't. It's a circus. So yeah, I thought we were completely dead. They get 2 dunks, they're jumping around, they're think the game's over with. And then Rodney makes that 3, which all of a sudden gave us a little bit of room to breathe. And then Lucky, Marquise gets the steal that Lucky finishes and gets fouled, and all of a sudden it's like, we got hit with those paddles, and we were resuscitated, and all of a sudden now momentum's on our side, and it's a 2-point game within a matter of 5 seconds, and our guys really obviously fed off that.
Going into the NEC tournament now, you talked about a lot of the focus a lot this season. Is there a better way in your mind for them to kind of go in with any momentum, having to dig themselves out of an 8-point hole in an overtime game on senior night? I
can think of a lot of better ways to go in than this, but not to be down 8 in overtime would probably be a better start. Maybe to come out with some more energy at the beginning of the game. Again, we were flat to start the game, and we said, every time you want to relax or exhale from here on out, it could mean your season. And not everyone gets to go to the conference tournament, and so every day that we get together, whether it's to watch film, practice, lift weights, work out, play a game, you got to appreciate it, and you got to realize that it could be your last. There's a couple teams in our league that their season's finished today, and so we get to move on, and the longer you want to continue to play, the more focus you have to have, and the more urgency and intensity you have to have.
Andy, no matter who's in the championship game, do you think it could be more exciting than this one?
Are
you confused?
Yeah, I don't really know where that's coming from, but
well, it's hard to imagine.
It was an incredibly exciting game. Yeah, there's no doubt. It would be tough to top.
Just given how he played in those final 5 or 10 minutes, and especially with some of the intensity that they showed, does Lucky kind of have the look of a guy who kind of knows and is kind of driven by the fact that things are kind of winding down for him, but he knows there's only a handful of games left?
You hope so. I mean, he made some incredible plays late in the game. some big rebounds, some big defensive plays, obviously some big free throws. He was in the right spots where we needed him to be, and he was trying to urge his teammates on. Him and Rodney did a really good job of really trying to keep everybody focused and working, and continuing to play through a mistake or a breakdown or something. Just let's move on to the next play and keep playing hard. And so that's what you want to see out of your senior at this point in time. And I hope he continues to play like that, because when he does, we're a much better team.
But you've gone to man a little bit, in other previous games, either give your team energy, kind of change things up. Do you think that again gave you guys the energy you needed to kind of just be engaged in the game again tonight?
Yeah, and I think some of it was opponent driven tonight. St. Francis, they do an excellent job against zone. They really move the ball well. They really are patient and wait for you to break down. And we're not the most mentally tough group, and so the longer we're on defense, the more opportunity there is when we're in our zone for some kind of crack. And so, to try and keep them on their heels a little bit, we had to switch defenses, try and just disrupt their tempo, and try and speed them up some. I think is something that we needed to try and do, and I think it helped us today. Obviously, with 20 points off their turnovers, was a big factor in the game.
When you switch defenses, who's more confused, you guys or the other team?
Clearly us. I mean, because again, you guys don't always know what's going on the inside, like what's being said in the timeouts, and when we're supposed to be switching defenses and what's supposed to be going on. Because if you guys really did know, I mean, you would ask me what we do in practice all day, because it's a show, is what it is. I mean, there's times where we call something in a timeout, and then we go out on the floor, and it's, like I said, 4 guys are doing it, and 1 guy isn't. The whole bench is screaming at them to try and get involved. It makes no sense.
Well, now that you know that, well, not now that you know it, but
I've known it.
because you know
I've known it for a while.
Well, because it's a factor. Why not call what you don't want to run? No. And they'll run the other thing, and it'll be right. Sort of like 2 wrongs.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea.
Try it.
That's kind of how we function. Yeah, that might be all right.
Well, you said the other day we play opposite day or whatever.
We do.
There you go.
We yell talk, they get quieter. So maybe we should yell, shh, be quiet.
Works for grandkids.
True.
Any questions, Coach?